Son of a bitch. Frustrating. Very frustrating. I couldn't get everything uploaded in time, so I apologize for being 5 minutes late here. And today I want to talk about Verlander because, frankly, I'm going through some things with Verlander. I feel like anybody that's our age is appreciates what Verlander is able to accomplish at the age of 39. And as we'll see here, he accepted his third Cy Young Award last night, which is just an incredible accomplishment. Hold on a second, just stop this here. Just an incredible accomplishment. It's also he doesn't plan on letting up anytime soon. And I've started to get a little bit more pessimistic that somehow the Astros are going to get some kind of a hometown discount. And I know this is what happens this time of year. You start getting a little bit paranoid about things like this. But Verlander went on and accepted his award last night and spoke very diplomatically about his respect for Jim Crane and everything, just appreciating everything they'd accomplished, but also sounded like he very much wanted to be, to test the market and to figure out exactly what his value was. The one thing that he said that gave me a little bit of hope that he's just kind of going through the motions on trying to figure out what the market was that he said he was kind of committed to finding out what his value is. So when Verlander says he's kind of committed to finding out what his value is, that sounds like somebody that knows that to get what's fair, he's going to have to go out and see what the market value is and test it that way. But that ultimately, if you're going to give a hometown discount to somebody, then you got to first actually know what retail price is. So that's where we are with Verlander. I thought he went on MLB Network after the award was announced last night, and his daughter Genevieve jumped on with him, which I thought was really cool. And I don't get emotional about stuff too much. You guys know, like when Derek Carr got emotional the other day. If anything, I felt kind of like a bastard for being calloused about it. So there we go. Let's see if we can get this working. So in talking about that, there we go. We've got a Verlander there. First, he talked about what it was like doing rehab when he had his family at home with him, as opposed to maybe at previous times in his career when he didn't have a daughter, when he didn't have the full-blown family. He had Kate, and that's cool, and we jet set around all over the place. But it's different when you have a little girl at home.
To stay positive, but one of the things that I most focus on was my family. I felt like this was an opportunity for me to connect with my daughter and spend time with them in ways, that I would never get the opportunity to do. And she really made the whole process just, silver lining of spending time with them just does no justice. It was just so incredible. Coming home, I go in and do my 4 hours a day or 3-4 hours, whatever it was, of my rehab, and then come home and get to spend time with her. And it didn't matter, how my rehab was going. She was just happy to see me.
So that part is cool, and that is true. And I'll tell you honestly, just from experience, one of the weirdest things that you can't obviously complain about this when you're an athlete, but one of the weirdest things about the off season is like how much time you have on your hands. And that's why it used to be back in the day, guys would get in trouble with that. I think ever since video games got really good and that you could play them remotely with your friends, that changed a little bit. Maybe drugs of choice changed a little bit too, from alcohol to other things that get guys in less trouble. But when it comes to staying focused and focusing on your rehab, but then having all that rest of the time in the day to fill, it's actually a weirdly counterintuitively difficult thing to do sometimes, because you might not want to go do an internship or commit yourself to some other job or anything in the off season because you want to stay focused on what you're working on. The family, there's obviously lots of reasons to have a family, but as a fan looking at athletes, that's one of the nice things that it does for athletes. It keeps them grounded, gives them some perspective. Bregman talked about that this year. Bregman, in having a kid to go home to, during the playoffs or whenever else, it kind of changed things for him. And it was after he had his paternity leave this year that he switched some things mechanically, but he's been tinkering with stuff mechanically for the last 3 years. He said having his daughter around to focus on, because you got to give those kids 100% of your attention, ended up making a big difference. When it came to the guys at MLB Network talking to Verlander about his about what he's going to do in the future, there was one thing that it got me excited for where Verlander might go, but it also got me a little bit nervous in terms of whether Jim Crane can give him a competitive offer or not. That was this right here.
Justin, the start of your career, you did so many great things. Is it fair to say you're at a point in your career now that you appreciate an award like this because you know, like, all the hard work it took to get to this point? You know what I mean? Like, you appreciate it more at the back end of your career?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do. I think you appreciate everything more at the, back third or quarter of your career. It's just, I think just everything that led up to this, I think when you're young and things just go your way, you just don't understand, what it takes to make things go your way. All of a sudden things go the opposite direction. And that happened to me a couple times in my career. And, I think it makes you appreciate these times. Oh, here she comes. And, makes you appreciate things just all the more because you know how much hard work goes on to get to this point. And there's just so many people that come and go that have an impact on you and your career, and things just fall in line. There's just there's so many moments in my career that I can think of where it just seems like things are meant to be, and something happens, or you get some advice from somebody, no matter how small or big it may be, and you implement it, and it has a major impact.
Okay, so like that, obviously, that can mean a whole lot of things, but I do think that one of the biggest factors in Verlander coming back to Houston would be what he said at the beginning there, where he said he said it tongue-in-cheek, but he means is he said the last third or last quarter of his career because he wants to play until he's 45. So that's something that's going to be – it's more than, hey, this is his last contract and he'll just take whatever the Astros give him. I think he thinks of himself as an elite Cy Young award-winning pitcher, and he wants to be treated as such. But I think he also, as he talked about at the end there, he understands and appreciates how much the Astros have been able to do for him, and not out of the goodness of their hearts or anything, but just it's been a very productive relationship between the Astros pitching staff and Justin Verlander because they don't they've been good for each other partly because Justin Verlander was recreated by the Astros. Same way Garrett Cole was recreated by the Astros. Damn it, I wish I hadn't said Garrett Cole because you know what? The flip side of this equation is that, hey, Garrett Cole was recreated by the Astros. He went off to the Yankees, and he's still been really good with the Yankees. It's not like, Charlie Morton was the same way. It's not like all of a sudden Justin Verlander is going to be terrified that he won't be the same guy if he goes somewhere else. So that's the one thing to keep in mind is that I think that, yes, the Astros can be good for Verlander, but he can probably sustain this level of play as long as he stays healthy. I think the other big factor for somebody that wants to play into their 45 that works in the Astros' benefit is that the Astros will be able to load manage him. And he hasn't been a guy that's really wanted to be load managed when he's healthy. He very much prefers to pitch on normal rest when it's possible. But I think between his different perspective on things and then seeing this year exactly how much it probably helped him at times to have to take 6 days off in breaking down at the end of the season with his calf injury and how that affected him in the playoffs. I think the ability to be spelled, to not have all the pressure on him as the only ace. We've got potentially 2 or 3 other guys that are ace caliber players on this staff. And I think that works out too. And then ultimately it just comes down to whether he feels like this is a long-term place for him. I was going to play some audio of him talking about his future and finding that role, but it doesn't translate quite well without the video. So real quick, the only thing I want to share with you is this is old and it's from last week, but this is like I hadn't seen this until the actual video of it until this week, and this is just Mike McDaniel, who my co-host Sean Pendergast had despised at one point, but is coming around on him because of this from last week after they had played the Bears, and Mike McDaniel was seen having some words with Justin Fields on the sideline. It was a cool moment. Ah, dang it! It was a cool moment because share screen because I think Mike McDaniel is genuinely funny. He's not like annoying, fake. Let's laugh at him because he's a coach and he's showing personality. I think he's genuinely funny, which is rare these days. Here's Mike McDaniel.
16 mark. You spoke to Justin Fields on the side. It seemed like you said to him to stop running the ball. Did you kind of knew that's what the game plan was for them going into the game, or?
No, I just wanted him to stop scrambling. And it was pretty irritating because he didn't listen at all. He didn't take the coaching.
Third quarter, about the 5-minute 16 mark, you spoke to Justin Fields on
Okay,
the side.
so
it seemed like you
that
said
was-
to him to stop running the ball. Did you?
Okay, so now here's the thing about Mike McDaniel, and what I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to go easy on this because it's like the older you get, two things happen. One is you learn not to fall for financial bubbles, like whether they be real estate, crypto, tech stocks in the late 90s, whatever it might be. You understand, okay, this is pretty cool right now, but it's not going to last, and it's certainly not revolutionizing the way people play the financial game. In football, the exact same thing happens with offenses and quarterbacks and coaches where, remember, oh yeah, Sean McVay. Boy, nobody will ever stop Sean McVay again. He's just too smart for everybody. It's ridiculous how smart he is and how he'll never be stopped. And we've been through 2 Sean McVay bubbles now. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, remember, the very year that the Chiefs would go on to win the Super Bowl, it was the Ravens that they'd never be stopped. How's anybody going to ever beat them? Oh, okay, you can't play in the playoffs, who cares, whatever. And then that very year, 3 months later, we're saying, oh, yeah, nobody will ever stop. Nobody will ever stop Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. Probably going to win like 20 Super Bowls between now and 2022. It doesn't work out that way. So nobody's saying any of that about Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins just yet. But I do want to, I want to pump the brakes on his genius while he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all these other guys on offense that basically make it a little bit easier to be an awesome coach. So I like his personality, though, and I'll accept and tolerate him for now. I'm going to chop this up a little bit. I'm going to start trying to do these live streams in such a way that I can chop them up into videos afterwards and keep the live stream as loose as possible. I feel like when I watch live streams with the way a lot of kids are doing it, not that I'm trying to be like a 22-year-old or anything. The part that's really appealing to it is that it's just very, very freewheeling and just loose. And then you can go chop it up, and if you want to do a standalone video afterwards, you can do it. But I'd like to be able to do that because I do enough radio every day, and I don't want to be I don't want to just be doing the same thing. I'd rather get into some of like my more personal stuff and other interests and anything else that you guys want. So I will say good day. I'll put this out later as a standalone video. And please feel free to send me messages. You can DM me on Twitter or Instagram at Seth C. Payne. You can email me at sethpayne91@gmail.com with any ideas or feedback you have, which I really appreciated all the stuff from yesterday. Thanks, guys.